Chiropractors, here's the deal. You cannot sell what you don't own. I'm Dr. Dan. I'm a chiropractor. I'm passionate about the brain. I love brain-based communication. I want to help you take your message, your impact, and your income to the next level. So I have spoken on a lot of stages all over the world, many different continents. And if you've either heard me speak or maybe you've talked to somebody who has heard me speak, I think one of the words that is often used to describe me or my teaching or my message or my method is conviction. And I actually take pride in that word, that I'm not convicted about a lot of things in life, but I am passionate about health and healing and chiropractic and communication. And I want to make sure you know, in order to take your message to a place where people are going to know you, like you, trust you, and do what you say, believe you, and convert. In our world, it's convert into care. Because the more people you can convert, listen, I can put a lot of people in your office. You can get great marketing. There's ways to put a lot of people through your doors, but it's going to cause more harm than good if you can't convert them. So I specialize in helping clients convert their patients into cash-paying care plans who happily pay, stay, and refer. Now, I say that because as a chiropractor, you can't sell what you don't own. So my level of conviction comes from my depth of understanding it. This is why I created this poster. If you've seen it, it's in thousands of chiropractic offices worldwide. It wasn't so that a patient understands the neurological pathways or any of them. It's that they have this awe and wonder, this awe and fascination in, wow, I didn't know that chiropractic could do that. I didn't know the benefits could be like that. I didn't know that I could experience this, or maybe my friend needs to hear about this. That's why I created it, because I didn't experience that. I was 16, I was pole vaulting, I got injured, nobody could help me, a chiropractor helps me. Now there's a lot more to that story, but I say it because once I got to chiropractic, I started to hear what it's all about and the principles and the science and the art. I knew that I was not going down the status quo. I knew that I wasn't like the rest of my family. And really, when I have dissected this over the years, the reason why I get so fired up about the research and the science and the evidence is because I'm still using it as proof to validate myself and my own worthiness. So let my path and journey and commitment to understanding this thing help you. Because what I've learned is that when you're convicted, people feel you. This whole line that the convinced and convicted need not say much is true when it comes to the science, because there is something called mirror neurons. There's neurons in the brain that when you say something, the person on the other end hearing it receives it in the same area of the brain that you told it in. So if you want to get somebody to receive your message better, you need to understand it better. You need to have better conviction around it, not looking for proof or validation from them, knowing deep down you have what you have. Their acceptance of it has nothing to do with the truth and the value it delivers. Are you following me? Because this is where magic happens. I saw a lot of scripting and specific words that chiropractors were using over and over again. So somebody would say it like this, and we'd say, show me how you did that. And they would write out a script, they would give you the poster, they would give you the handouts, and they say, do this, this, and this. When I started in practice, I use scripts. I use the exact same words, posters, images that my mentors used, that my coaches used, that my leaders taught me how to do. And it worked for a little while, until it didn't. And it turns out that you can't fake it till you make it. That's a myth. You have to own it, especially if you want to have peace and fulfillment. You can be yourself and get results, but you cannot shortcut this conviction process. When I saw 10 people have the same script, say the exact same words, and get completely different results, it triggered me to think, what is the difference? This is what has drawn me to communication, because when you have something big, what you do as a chiropractor, there is such a need for what you do. People are living in a hopeless filled world right now. The point is you provide not only hope, but a very specific application that can help them. But the perceived value is just as, if not more important than the actual value, because they got to buy into it before they actually get the care. So you got to know your value and you got to know your uniqueness. This is where your conviction is going to come from. And when you have it, you need not say as much or the things that you are saying hit differently. As I've talked about many times, 93% of your communication is nonverbal. Albert Morabian out of California proved this to be true, that it's not the words, it's vocal variety, it's your tone, it's your body language. And so that comes from a level of belief and conviction about what you have. If you're constantly waiting or yearning for somebody to validate you, to believe in what you have, you've already lost. So what I do is I take clients and I teach them how to have conviction. How do we do that? Is we actually go through the simple science and research that validates what they do. It's beyond just pain relief or beyond just this musculoskeletal benefits. And when you look at the science, there's a way to understand this thing that it's not this hard bone on soft nerves, but I can also see where it's challenging to many chiros. If you're a chiropractor and you graduated chiropractic college after 1995, I'm going to tell you, you have a unique disadvantage. Prior to the 1990s, typically you got into chiropractic as a career because you experienced something amazing happen to you or a family member. And not just my back pain went away, usually had something to do with some sort of organic or visceral problem. Heart, lungs, digestion, allergies, you name it. And I say this, when you got to chiropractic college, typically you had a certain level of confidence and a little bit of understanding that it is more than just pain relief. As chiropractic continued to grow in popularity, there were just as many people getting into chiropractic college because it was a good profession. It could provide a good living. And so the challenge with that is now this young 22-year-old or 24-year-old shows up to chiropractic college and they then lean on the instruction and the teaching and the professors to help them have certainty and confidence in what they're about to do and what they've dedicated their life to. I know this all too well. I spent 1.5 years teaching in a chiropractic college, the philosophy of chiropractic at Life University. I was in transition, like I sold my first practice, built another practice. Sold that practice, teamed up with Guy Reekman, who at the time was president at Life University. Him and I and another colleague of ours started to open up practices. So we had this model that we created, eventually broke off out of that. I was transitioning into opening another practice. I started speaking, I started putting out products and resources and, creating posters and brain lamps and all the things that I knew could help a chiropractor communicate. And I had the vice president of the college come to me and say, hey, while you're here, could you come and help us on a Wednesday afternoon teach philosophy? I think that your youth, your fire, your conviction, and your experience growing successful practice could help teach our students. And so I did it for 1.5 years, and it was fascinating. One of the things that we would do is we would take a poll at the beginning of each class of how many students had been adjusted prior to chiropractic college, and this blew my mind. In one class, and this was kind of the average, 25% of kids sitting at a chiropractic college going to be a chiropractor, spending hundreds of thousands of dollars and dedicating their life's work into chiropractic had never been adjusted before. Now, there's a good and there's a bad to that. The good is, wow, that's a cool enough profession that they have deemed it valuable enough to spend this time, money, effort, and energy into being that. The downfall is that they had never experienced it. And so when you never experience it, then you rely on the instructors. And I can tell you, chiropractic colleges have to have a specific amount of PhDs and master's degrees and certain doctorates teaching their programs. So think about that. If you have instructors who have never been exposed to chiropractic and don't necessarily know the uniqueness, the difference, the value, and you're a major instructor endorsed by the university or school, it could create some confusion in the product, and the product being these students and their conviction. So I'm telling you this because I understand where a lack of clarity and a lack of conviction comes from. And this is why I get so fired up. Because for me, the philosophy and the science and the art of chiropractic is so pure, it's so right, and it's so validated by the evidence. If you look at the right evidence and you look at the science and you unpack it and you ask the right questions. So this is where you get in your office and you're wondering why people aren't following you, the level of conviction. We receive information the same area it comes from. So if you're convicted, they're convicted. If you're confusing, they're confusing. If it's not clear, they don't have clarity. All of this is fascinating to me because it's all about the brain. I created a program for chiropractors called It's All About the Brain, and it was all about the research behind the influence of an adjustment. But I'm here to tell you right now, the communication that you're having is all about the brain. The mirror neurons of your prospects are receiving the information and communication at the same place that it's coming from. And so when you nail this, you start to see a change and a shift in the way people respond to you. And I know you've experienced this in your own life. we all have. When you get around people who are convicted and confident and communicate effectively with clarity, it gives us a level of trust. I teach a 3C model, and it starts with the first C, which is conviction. If you don't have conviction, you must start there. That's the big idea when it comes to communication. And as they say, get the big idea and all else follows. So hey, if you found this valuable, I would love that you would share this with a friend or a colleague of yours who you know needs to hear it. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss another video. I am all about providing you value so you can take your practice to the next level. If you want to know if we can help you, let's jump on a call. We do a free call to find out if you can quickly scale your practice and stop bleeding money by not capitalizing on the people already coming in. So there you have it. God bless. We'll see you on the flip.